I'm back and I'm going to tell you a story for Halloween. It's not really scary, it just has to do with Samhain, so that makes it perfect to me to tell you now, at this time of year. I'm also wearing my jack-o'-lantern shirt, but it's with the camera angle, you can't really see it. Which is probably okay because it's got tons of hair on it. So I shall begin. Oh, and one more thing before I actually begin is that a lot of these names are Irish and I don't speak Irish, so I'm apologising ahead of time in case I mispronounce anything, so sorry. There was once a man named Caoilte, a member of the warrior class called the Fianna. One day, when Caoilte was out walking, he was embraced by his foster brother, Derek, whose mother was a member of the She. "How do things go?" asked Caoilte. "Not well," answered Derek. "We have all that we need to make for joy, but every evening a bird comes, a bird with an iron beak and a tail of fire. And when he comes, he shakes himself. When he shakes, the whole hill quakes and caves down around us." "I will help you in this matter," declared Caoilte, and they both set off to Ess Ruadh, of the Red Fall. That night the bird comes, and it starts to shake, and the hill starts to quake, and everything starts crumbling around the people of the She within. But Caoilte takes up a rod and casts it at the bird, laying it low. There was much feasting that night, but the following morning, the owner of the bird comes, Lear. He comes with 3 armies to seek revenge against the people who killed his prized pet. The battle lasts till midday. Then Caoilte and Laird lock eyes and meet in the midst of it. They fight a fierce fight, but in the end Caoilte wins, and the people of the Ess Ruadh are overjoyed, and there is much celebration, and Caoilte is given many gifts. But still, it is a sad day when Caoilte and Derek are parted once again. But in gratitude, the people of Ess Ruadh's hospitality will always be extended to Caoilte in his time of need. Many years later, it so happened that in battle, Caoilte was struck by a poisoned spear in the thigh. The poison stayed and festered, so he went again to Ess Ruadh to ask for healing, to seek help from Bevan, who had the healing drink of the Tua de Donnan. Caoilte came to Cascorach, the musician, and bade him take up his harp and come with him, and he said much the same to Fermasha. The people of the hill gave them a great welcome, and Bevan came and gave the 3 warriors welcoming kisses. The people implored them for their help, saying they were in time of great need. Cascorach explained that they were not here on an errand of bravery, and Fermasha finished saying that if they were indeed in need, then they would gladly help. Caoilte finally explained the real reason for their visit. "We will heal in exchange for your help for the 3 problems that plague us," said the people. Then they all went into the hill and stayed there for 3 days and 3 nights. After that amount of time, the people told of how a warrior woman would come every year with the ships of Lochlin. This warrior was raised by a woman who knew all enchantment, and knew every precious thing from every she-hill, and she would steal them. Suddenly, a messenger came up and said that the ships of Lochlin had landed on the beach. Cascorach went out against the warrior woman, and when she saw how young he was, she had high words indeed. But at the end of the fight, Cascorach won, and he left her body stranded on the beach with the waves crashing over her. Caoilte went out in a chariot and found the king of Lochlin, and by Caoilte's spear the king of Lochlin fell. Fermasha fought the king of Lochlin's brother, the most handsome in all the world, and he knew him by the band of gold around his forehead, his green armour, and his red shield, and by Fermasha's 5-pronged spear he fell. When those of Lochlin saw that all their leaders had been slain, they fled back to the ships and sailed away. people of Ess Ruadh were greatly joyed, but they lost no time in telling Caoilte of their next problem. 3 flocks of red birds would come and eat the grass down to the flagstone just under Ess Ruadh, leaving no place for the Sidhe to hold their races. When the birds came, Caoilte and his companions took up a stone each and threw them at the flocks in turn and drove them away. And there was much rejoicing among the people of the Ess Ruadh. And they thanked them greatly, but they asked for one more favour. 3 ravens, the people said, come out of the north while the boys play at their hurling, swoop down and carry off 3 of them. We know not where they go or what they do. We are powerless as we hear the shouts of the boys and the screams of their families. Tomorrow is the day of the hurling game. Tomorrow, the ravens will come. So the next day, when the sun was high, and all the Tuatha Dé Danann went out to watch the hurling game, to every 6 was given a chessboard, and to every 5 a board from some other game, to every 10 a little harp, and big harp to every 100, and pipes, loud and powerful, to every 9. The ravens appeared on the horizon of the sea, and silently landed on the tree of power that stood on the green. Once perched, they let out a deafening screech that brought gloom to the people, a screech that could have brought the dead from the earth. And the people took up their boards, their harps, and their pipes, and they made such a noise that sounded like 1,000 armies on the march, and it was heard clear across Ireland. Caoilte took up a chessman and threw it at a raven, hitting him in the head and the throat, ending him there. Fermasha took up another chessman and threw it at the second raven, hitting it in the body and leaving a hole where the heart had been. Caoilte took up the 3rd chessman and lobbed it at the 3rd raven, hitting it straight between the eyes, toppling it from the tree as the chessman kept soaring, not stopping until it reached another province altogether. Let my cure be done, said Caoilte, for I have paid for it in full. So Bevan and her 2 sons took him into a hidden place and laid him in a bed of healing. She gave him a golden bowl of soaked herbs and bade him drink. He took a deep drink, which caused him to cast up the poison. She then gave him new milk, but through the retching he was left weak, and he laid there for 3 days and 3 nights. She gave him the washing of flan to cure the weakness in his head. It was then that the people of Ess Ruadh parted into 3 groups, one for the noblemen and warriors, the second for the young men, and the third for the poets and the women. These groups took turns entertaining him, and from all that was attained in the hunt, the best was given to him. One day, while Bevan and her 2 sons, along with Caoilte and Fermasha, were entertaining Caoilte on his healing bed, they heard such lovely music coming from the waters of Ess Ruadh. Once heard, they set down their instruments and went out, leaving Caoilte perplexed. When they had returned, Caoilte asked why they had left him. It was Wanya, they replied, and with her the birds of paradise, she being the musician to the whole of that land. She visits one of the hills of the Sidhe every year, and it is our turn for her visit. Caoilte then asks for the healing of his thigh, and Bevan has her serving people suck all that was bad from the wound, and he stops there for 3 days and 3 nights. After those 3 nights, the people of Ess Ruadh come up as one and take a swim in the stream. Caoilte goes with them, and in the stream he is healed. Realizing that he is healed, they feast all that night. In the morning, Caoilte and Caoilte say goodbye, but Fermasha stays on. The people give Caoilte many gifts and thank him profusely. But they are sad to see him leave. The 2 warriors leave to the sounds of the lamentations of the people. Get my words out there. When people tell their past with stories, explain their present with stories, dream their future with stories, the blessed place by the fire is reserved for the storyteller.